guys, bringing in, we got that week 2 stacks and value plays for you. It's going to be a good one. Let's kick it off here with the stacking options for week 2. Going to start out with the Cleveland Browns here. I think I really like Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, and Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon had a couple of deep ball passes, one in the end zone that he didn't catch, and then he also caught one later on in the game. Obviously, Jarvis Landry had his 15 targets that game. I think that's going to be more of the same. Those are definitely the two you want to target in that game. And you could also run it back with the New Orleans Saints. You look at Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, they all went off last game. That could be more of the same. I do expect the Saints defense to bounce back a little bit. I think that's just kind of a week 1 thing. Kind of just happens in the NFL sometimes. But you look at the targets that Kamara and Thomas are going to get, though, it's just hard to pass up for me. So, going to be, that game is a nice little stacking option for you. Kind of, you can tweak it how you want to. You can't fit all of them in there, but at those prices, I think you would probably want to go with the Saints as the safest stacking option and then try to fill in Jarvis Landry and Josh Gordon as you go. But let's get into the Chargers stacking option. Obviously, Rivers, Allen, Gordon. You could maybe think about Mike Williams in there as well. Travis Benjamin had a couple of deep bombs that would have been touchdowns last week that he just dropped, flat out dropped. I don't know if that's going to mean he gets less playing time or he gets the same playing time. We'll see about that one. But really not a bad stacking option. You could also include Austin Eckler. He had a good game. He'll probably get around 10 touches per game. Getting to the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, I think this is the one that you got to go with the most. You got Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and James Conner. Yes, you can stack receiving running backs for running backs that catch the ball in the backfield with the quarterback. And I don't mind that this week. James Conner, he's still a little bit too cheap for you, especially on FanDuel. I don't mind the stacking option as well. Really it's going to be a nice, safe game for them. Obviously, Big Ben's a little injured. People are going to be worried about that. I am not. I do really like this matchup. You got Jimmy G, Dante Pettis, and George Kittle for the San Francisco 49ers. This is a nice, cheap, safe stacking option for you. The Detroit Lions defense did not look good last week. And actually, Jimmy G, Pettis, and Kittle all looked good last week. So I do like those options as well. The next option you could go and get into is going to be the Eagles. They're going against Tampa Bay. The Saints just tore them up on defense, so I do really like these options as well. You could include another guy that I'm going to touch on in a second in the value plays options as well. But also to run it back with this stack, Foles, Wallace, Ertz. You could also include Aguilar if you want, but to run it back, if Deshaun Jackson is out, I really like Chris Godwin. He has an elite talent, and he's still developing, so I really like him. And the Kansas City Chiefs, I think every week you can pretty much just stack Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. I do think Kareem Hunt is going to get a little bit more involved this week, but we shall see. All right, let's get into the value plays here for you guys. The guy I touched on earlier about being a good value play for the Philadelphia Eagles, that's going to be Corey Clement. Darren Sproles is out, so I expect Corey Clement to get a lot more touches this game, probably around 12. He almost scored a touchdown last week even. He only had one man to beat. That's just kind of how that offense rolls. So I really like Corey Clement as a nice value option for you. I've touched on Ricky Seals-Jones a little bit. He had a touchdown pass that he dropped in the end zone last week, but that was because it was a poorly thrown ball by Sam Bradford. Look at what Jared Cook did to the Los Angeles Rams defense last week. I think that Ricky Seals-Jones is going to have a nice little week for you. Then I like Alfred Morris again. I think he just scores a touchdown. He gets around 12 carries for you. That's going to be very solid. Dante Pettis is another play that I like, especially if Marquise Goodwin sits. I might just be locking in Pettis. He looked good on film last week, and Jimmy G was trying to hit him. And Jimmy G looked good last week, too. He had a couple of touchdown passes that were dropped. One was by Kittle. So, I do like this option again for Pettis. You look on FanDuel, he's a little bit too cheap on there as well. He's the min price. Philip Lindsay is more of a play on FanDuel as well. I think he's too cheap on there. Obviously, I kind of want to wait and see, but he's not a bad tournament option. Then Green Bay. I like Geronimo Allison as a value play. That's not going to be a bad one. But Marquise Valdes-Scantling, I like him as well, especially if Devontae Adams is going to miss the game. The Packers will probably be playing from behind a little bit if Rodgers is missing. Don't mind Valdes-Scantling as a nice little option. And then get Quincy Enunwa while he's too cheap. I mean, right now he's just too cheap on DraftKings and FanDuel. They didn't get a chance to adjust his price yet. So I think you just got to take advantage of that pricing while you can. It's not going to be there probably next week as well. So I just play him while you can. It might not be a bad cash option. I do like that play for a cash option. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, let's get that like and subscribe going. Let's have a good week. Thanks.